My father was always interested in art. It was the first thing he would do if he went to some other city would be to go to the art museum. So he kept very close touch with art, all kinds of art. We were taken out of regular school and put in art school in the Corcoran.
Were you interested in sculpture at that early age?
Well, we were interested in drawing it in charcoal because there were no sculpture classes at the Corcoran. I think there are now, but there were not then.
When did you first study sculpture?
Well, at the Pennsylvania Academy.
Well, it was at the academy that you met Ken. Did you meet him at the school or when you went on the scholarship to go to Europe?
It was curious. He was at the school. He was in my sister's class. And he came to our apartment one night after a party. And I didn't have a chance to speak to him, but that was the first time I saw him close range. And then later in Rome, in a pension, we met him. Then I had a chance to get acquainted a little bit. I was studying architecture and Gothic sculpture in the cathedrals, particularly. So we spent the summer in England working in the British Museum and going to all the cathedrals, and then we went to the French cathedrals. My sister was over there with me. And then we went to Italy, and that's where I met Ken. And the other art students were all over Europe too, and we kept meeting them back and forth. But at that time it was just after the war, and the students who had won scholarships during all the war years had to wait until the end of the war before they could go over. So there were about 50 accumulated students from about 6 years back. All went over together, so that's how there were so many of us all at once. And I'd spend the morning in the reading room, and then the afternoon going up to different cathedrals and climbing over the roofs and so forth. It was lots of fun.
Well, was your interest in architecture primarily because of your interest in sculpture? You wanted to connect the two?
Gothic sculpture, beautiful sculpture. The cathedrals were just stories in stone of all the sculpture that was in them. And then Ken was interested in them too. And after we were married, we went back together, and he was just as interested in I, and we climbed all over Chartres and Bourges and all the French cathedrals. We had a wonderful time.
Well, then you would say that one of the influences in your art was more medieval.
Oh, yes, very much so.
That's really interesting.
The cathedrals were stories in stone, really, with all sorts of pictures carved in stone.